What happens when you are staring at a radar screen, tracking the most advanced fighter jets in the world flying toward your border, and then, in a single second, they just vanish? What does it actually mean when the most powerful military machine on the planet deliberately goes completely dark right on your doorstep? Because that is exactly what just happened near Iranian airspace, and military commanders in Tehran are only now realizing the terrifying reality of what it means. Before we pull back the curtain on this ghost move, if you want to understand how global power actually works in the shadows, instead of just watching shallow news headlines scroll past you, hit subscribe right now. This channel breaks down the real story, and this one will change how you look at modern warfare forever. A few days ago, right on the edge of Iran's heavily guarded airspace, United States stealth fighters did something that sent an absolute shockwave through the region. They didn't fire a single missile. They didn't drop a bunker-busting bomb. They did something much quieter, and arguably much more dangerous. They flipped a switch and turned off their transponders. In modern aviation, your signal is your identity. It tells the world exactly who you are, how high you are flying, and that you are not hiding. Turning that signal off while flying near a hostile, heavily armed border is never an accident. It is a highly calculated, deeply aggressive choice. Imagine being an Iranian radar operator. You watch the blinking dots of American stealth jets on your screen. You know exactly where they are. And then? Blank screen. You know those lethal jets are still up there, you just cannot see them anymore. That is when a routine patrol becomes pure psychological terror, because in the military world, when a stealth fighter goes dark, it usually means it is preparing to strike. This wasn't a glitch. This was a direct threat. And the real reason Washington just sent it is about to flip the entire chessboard. To really grasp why turning off a simple signal is such an explosive move, you have to look closely at exactly where this happened. The airspace surrounding Iran's borders is not just empty blue sky. It is one of the most heavily monitored, hypersensitive, and heavily militarized invisible tripwires on the entire planet. We are talking about a region completely packed with overlapping radar nets, advanced anti-aircraft batteries, and very nervous trigger fingers. For decades, Iran has built its entire air defense strategy around a concept we can call the red line. It is an invisible wall in the sky. If you cross it, or even look like you are about to cross it, you risk sparking a massive regional war. That is exactly why military aircraft from other nations usually fly with their transponders turned firmly on when they are just conducting routine patrols near the area. Leaving your signal on is a way of saying, "We are here, you can see us, we are just watching, so do not panic." It is essentially a gentleman's agreement in a sky filled with loaded guns, but the exact moment you deliberately turn that signal off right next to that red line, you are ripping up that agreement entirely. When those American stealth fighters went dark, they were operating in the absolute worst possible place to play hide-and-seek. By shutting down their locators, they forced the entire Iranian military apparatus to guess their intentions. Are the jets turning around? Are they crossing the border right now? Are they lining up a precision strike on a deeply buried nuclear facility? In a volatile zone where a single misunderstanding can launch interceptor missiles, forcing your enemy to guess is an incredibly dangerous geopolitical risk. It pushes the other side right to the absolute edge of panic. And that is the secret here. Pushing them to panic was exactly what the United States wanted. Let's talk about what going dark actually means in modern aerial warfare, because it is a lot more than just flipping a switch in a cockpit. Every commercial and military aircraft flies with a piece of equipment called a transponder. It is basically a digital heartbeat. It constantly pings the aircraft's identity, altitude, and exact speed to anyone who is listening. Air traffic controllers use it to keep planes from crashing into each other. Militaries use it to tell the other side, "I am here, but I am not currently attacking." But stealth fighters are fundamentally different. Planes like the F-35 and F-22 were literally built from the ground up to be completely invisible. Their angles, their special radar-absorbing coatings, their internal weapons bays, everything is engineered to make them look like a small bird on an enemy screen, or absolutely nothing at all. The only reason a country like Iran can ever see an American stealth jet on their radar during peacetime is because the American pilot deliberately allows them to see it by leaving that transponder turned on. When a pilot receives the order to go dark, they are shifting from peacetime rules to wartime execution. They are shutting off that digital heartbeat. In military doctrine, going dark right on the edge of hostile territory sends a very specific, chilling message. It means the safety protocols are officially off. It means the aircraft is now fully relying on its engineered stealth capabilities to survive, to penetrate, and to hunt. Think about the psychological weight of that exact moment. For weeks, you have been letting your enemy track you. You have conditioned them to watch your daily flight paths. You made them feel comfortable knowing exactly where your jets are. And then, without a single warning, you take that comfort away entirely. You blind them. Turning off that signal is not just a technical procedure. It is a silent, unwritten declaration. Put yourself in a dark, quiet command center deep inside Iranian territory. You are a radar operator staring at glowing screens, doing a job you have done 1,000 times before. Your entire purpose is to watch the sky. You see the digital blips of American fighter jets patrolling just outside your borders. They are close, but they are transmitting their locators. You know their speed. You know their exact altitude. You feel like you are in control. And then, in the blink of an eye, the blips just vanish. The screen goes completely blank. You lean in, you check the system, you run emergency diagnostics, but your screens are completely empty. The terrifying reality hits you instantly. Those jets did not turn around and go home. They did not run out of fuel. They simply erased themselves from your view. This is where the pure psychology of a blank radar screen completely breaks down a military force. As an operator, what do you tell your commanding officer? You cannot say the sky is clear, because you know for an absolute fact that it is not. You know the most advanced stealth fighters on the planet are currently flying somewhere right above you, heavily armed, and you have absolutely no way to track them. Are they 10 miles away? Are they directly over your capital? Have they already dropped a payload that is currently falling toward a secure underground facility? You have zero answers. In modern warfare, fear does not always come from massive explosions. Sometimes, the deepest, most paralyzing fear comes from absolute silence. When the United States flips that switch, they are not just hiding their planes, they are hacking directly into the minds of the people defending that border. They are forcing the Iranian military to sit in the dark, fully aware that they are being hunted by an enemy they cannot even see. Let's talk about the actual machines casting these invisible shadows. Because the United States did not just send ordinary fighter jets to patrol this highly sensitive border. They sent the F-35 Lightning II and the F-22 Raptor, and understanding the sheer power of these specific aircraft is the key to understanding why Tehran is so deeply nervous. If an older jet, like an F-16 or an F-15, turns off its digital transponder, it is definitely a problem. But an enemy radar system can still physically bounce radio waves off its metal frame and track its location. Older jets are powerful brawlers, but they are loud. The F-22 and F-35 are not brawlers. They are silent assassins. The F-22 Raptor was built for one specific purpose: to kick down the door. It flies higher and faster than almost anything else, engineered to rip apart advanced enemy air defenses before the enemy even realizes a war has started. The F-35, on the other hand, is essentially a flying supercomputer. It does not just carry precision weapons. It acts as a massive, invisible vacuum cleaner for data. It can slip undetected deep into hostile airspace, map out every single enemy radar dish, track every hidden missile battery, and silently feed all of those exact coordinates to American ships and submarines waiting hundreds of miles away. When these specific stealth jets go dark, the rules of engagement completely change. It means the United States has positioned its most lethal, undetectable assets right against the fence. They are flying platforms that can see absolutely everything happening below them, while the military commanders below can see absolutely nothing. But Iran is not completely defenseless. They have spent billions of dollars trying to solve this exact problem. Which brings us to a very uncomfortable question. Iran has not spent the last few decades just sitting around waiting to be attacked. They knew this exact day was coming. To protect their most sensitive nuclear facilities and military bases, Tehran spent billions of dollars buying and building some of the most formidable air defense systems on the planet. We are talking about highly advanced, Russian-designed S-300 surface-to-air missile batteries, alongside their own heavily upgraded domestic defense shields. On paper, these systems are absolute killers. If a standard fighter jet flies into their range, these missiles will lock on and tear it out of the sky in seconds. But a conventional radar system against a fifth-generation American stealth fighter is essentially a flashlight trying to find a ghost in a pitch-black room. Here is the brutal dilemma Iranian air defense commanders are facing right now. Radar works by sending out a massive wave of energy and waiting for that energy to bounce off a metal object and return. But the F-35 and F-22 are literally designed to swallow those radio waves, or perfectly deflect them into empty space. The energy goes out, but nothing comes back. This creates the ultimate, high-stakes game of cat and mouse. If Iranian commanders panic and turn their most powerful tracking radars up to maximum power, trying desperately to find these dark American jets, they make a fatal mistake. The moment an Iranian radar dish blasts that energy into the sky, the F-35's internal sensors immediately detect it. By trying to find the stealth jets, Iran instantly reveals the exact GPS coordinates of their own most valuable missile batteries. They are forced to choose between staying completely blind or turning on a flashlight that makes them an instant, easy target. And that brings us to the real reason Washington is playing this dangerous game. So why is the United States military actually doing this? Why fly highly advanced stealth fighters right up to the Iranian border, let them be seen, and then suddenly pull the plug on their locators? If you think this is just a routine training exercise or a simple flex of military muscle, you are completely missing the real story. In the world of high-level geopolitical chess, superpowers rarely use words to communicate their most serious threats. They use actions. And going dark is a deeply calculated, unspoken message delivered directly to the highest levels of Iran's political and military leadership. For months, Iranian-backed proxy groups have been causing chaos across the entire Middle East. They have been launching drones, firing ballistic missiles at commercial ships, and attacking allied military bases. Tehran has been playing a very careful game of testing the water, seeing exactly how far they can push the United States before Washington finally snaps. By shutting off those transponders right at the border, the Pentagon is sending a chilling, unmistakable reply. It is the modern military equivalent of racking a shotgun in a pitch-black room. The message is brutally simple. We are here. We can bypass your multi-billion-dollar radar nets whenever we choose. We can penetrate your most protected airspace without you ever knowing. If you push us too far, your secure command bunkers and your deeply buried nuclear sites will be destroyed before your warning sirens even have a chance to ring. Hand. It is a pure masterclass in psychological warfare. The United States is proving that it holds the ultimate trump card. They do not need to drop a single bomb to establish dominance. They just have to prove that Iran's shield is useless. But how they actually executed this move is even more terrifying. How did the United States actually execute this terrifying maneuver? The brilliant, almost cruel part of this tactic wasn't just that the stealth fighters went dark. It was that they deliberately made sure Iran was watching them before they did it. If the Pentagon just wanted to spy on Iran, those F-35s and F-22s would have taken off from their bases already cloaked in complete invisibility. They would have slipped into the region undetected, gathered their intelligence, and flown home. Iran would have never even known they were there, but sneaking around implies that you are afraid of getting caught. The United States military was not trying to sneak, they were putting on a show. American pilots intentionally left their transponders on for the first part of the flight. Sometimes, they even use small radar reflectors attached to the outside of the stealth jets to make them appear massive on enemy screens. They wanted Iranian commanders to lock onto them. They wanted the radar operators in Tehran to track their altitude, monitor their speed, and watch them fly closer and closer to the red line. They let Iran feel completely secure, letting them believe their billion-dollar air defense systems were actually working perfectly. And then, right at the most critical, nerve-wracking moment, just miles from the border, the American pilots flipped the switch. The locators were killed. Walking up to your enemy's front door is aggressive, but walking up to their front door, staring directly into their security camera, and then cutting the camera feed entirely, that is pure psychological terror. It is a deliberate, undeniable display of absolute power. But this terrifying display isn't just affecting Iran. The entire Middle East is watching, and it is reshaping everything. When an American stealth fighter goes dark near Iran, the panic isn't just contained inside Tehran. The ripple effect of that single flipped switch washes over the entire Middle East. Because this is not just a two-player game. Countries like Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates are watching those exact same radar screens very closely. For years, America's regional allies have been quietly questioning Washington's commitment. They have watched Iranian proxy groups attack their oil refineries, disrupt global shipping, and fire rockets at their cities. Behind closed doors, leaders in the Gulf and in Tel Aviv have been asking one very uncomfortable question. If Iran actually pushes closer to a nuclear weapon, or launches a massive regional war, will the United States really step in to stop them? That is exactly why this ghost maneuver matters so much to the rest of the world. By publicly blinding Iran's radar systems, the Pentagon is sending a massive reassurance signal to its allies. It is Washington's way of saying, "We have not left, we still own the sky." For Israel, a country that views a nuclear-armed Iran as a direct threat to its very survival, watching American F-35s dominate Iranian airspace without firing a single shot is the ultimate strategic comfort. For Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, it proves that the multi-billion-dollar American security umbrella they rely on every single day is still the most lethal and capable force on the planet. It immediately changes the diplomatic math for everyone in the region. But as powerful and reassuring as this tactic is for America's friends, it carries a terrifying hidden downside. Because when you play a high-stakes military game in complete darkness right on a heavily armed border, you are inviting a level of danger that nobody can truly control. There is a very dark side to this kind of psychological warfare, and it is something that keeps military strategists awake at night. It is called the danger of miscalculation. When you deliberately blind your enemy and force them to guess what you are doing, you are playing a game of Russian roulette with global security. Think about the reality on the ground inside Iran. You have air defense commanders sitting in bunkers, sweating, knowing that invisible American jets are somewhere nearby. These commanders are under immense pressure from their own government to protect their airspace at all costs. Their fingers are literally hovering over the launch buttons of advanced anti-aircraft missiles. What happens if one of those nervous commanders panics? What happens if a glitch on their radar screen makes them think a strike has just been launched? When you are blind, every shadow looks like a monster. If an Iranian commander fires a missile blindly into the dark, hoping to hit an F-35, and accidentally shoots down a commercial airliner, or actually manages to clip an American jet, the invisible game ends immediately. That single miscalculation would not just cause an international incident. Within hours, it would trigger a massive, unavoidable chain reaction. The United States would be forced to respond with devastating military force. Iranian proxies would activate across the Middle East, and global oil prices would skyrocket, and a silent psychological standoff would instantly transform into a full-scale, bloody regional war. This is the terrifying reality of modern stealth tactics. It is incredibly effective for establishing dominance, but it leaves absolutely zero room for error. Both sides are walking on a razor-thin tightrope in complete darkness. And the scariest part is, we are already moving into an era where this will become the new normal. We are officially entering a brand new era of global warfare. For decades, military power was measured by how loud a country could be. It was all about massive explosions, giant aircraft carriers, and heavy troops marching across borders. But what we just witnessed in the skies near the Iranian border proves that the rules of engagement have completely changed. The most terrifying weapons on the planet today are no longer the ones that make the loudest noise. They are the ones that make absolutely no sound at all. Modern conflicts are no longer just being fought with bombs, bullets, and traditional battlefields. They are being fought with silence, engineered fear, and the paralyzing realization that your enemy can reach you whenever they want, without you ever seeing them coming. Iran built an entire national defense strategy around the simple idea that they could see threats coming from miles away. They buried their nuclear secrets deep underground and bought advanced radar systems to guarantee their survival. But a single flipped switch by an American stealth pilot proved that none of that infrastructure guarantees absolute safety. The invisible red line has been crossed. And somewhere in Tehran right now, military planners are sitting in quiet, tense rooms, staring at blank screens, trying to figure out how to defend their nation against a ghost. If this deep dive completely changed the way you think about modern warfare and the hidden moves happening behind the headlines, that is exactly why this channel exists. Drop a comment below and tell me, do you think these silent stealth tactics will prevent a wider war, or are they just pushing the world closer to a massive, accidental disaster? I read every single comment. Subscribe, share this video.